Hi everybody, it's Lain. I'm back for day 5 of 31 days of your scrapbooking Q&As. And today we have a question from Lynnette who says, here's one for you. Not unlike most scrappers, I have an ever-increasing amount of scraps in my scrap drawer. I used to try and sort them by color, but I found that was too overwhelming and just another chore. So now I just throw them in the drawer and move on. Every once in a while, I make a proclamation to only use scraps on the next several layouts, but I find I don't stick with it when I see some 12 by 12 sheets winking at me. What is your best suggestion for really making a concentrated effort to use up those scraps? Thanks, Lain. Well, thank you to you, Lynnette, and don't forget to email support@layoutaday.com and let Kelly know that you are our day 5 chosen question, and you'll receive a little something in the mail from me, so include your mailing address when you do that. So I think when it comes to scraps, rather than doing an all or nothing thing like saying the next 17 layouts I do are going to all be scraps, I think instead it needs to be kind of more of a routine that you make it a habit to look to your scraps first when you're working on a layout. So maybe you grab that 12 by 12 sheet of paper, but then for embellishments or other things like that that you add to the page, journaling blocks, journaling strips, then you go to your scraps first. So just by making that a habit, it can really make it easier to cut down on the amount of scraps you have. Now, here is my pattern paper scrap bin. You can see it right here. Quite a few different patterns and colors and things like that. But what I'll do is once I'm working on a layout, I'll do just what I said. I'll pick out maybe the background cardstock and the one sheet of pattern paper that I know I want to use. Then I will go through here for something that looks similar in color or pattern that I want to use. So that's one way I use up a lot of scraps. Another way, if you do want to say, okay, this next layout I'm going to use scraps on it, then what I do is I look through my inspiration gallery and look for fun layouts that make use of scraps. And here's one that I just finished today. And you can see tons of different patterns, tons of different scraps on there, and everything on this layout from the block behind the photo here to the journaling strips over here, everything was a scrap. Even when I cut it out of, cut the title out of, from Silhouette, there it is right there, that was done from scraps as well. So you can say, I'm gonna do one layout that's entirely scraps. But don't say the next 17 layouts or next 5 layouts, or I'm only gonna use scraps till I use them up. It gets you into this all or nothing winner loser mindset where instead you just want to tell yourself, hey, I'm going to go to scraps first. Now, something else that's going to be a really good pal of yours when you're trying to use up scraps is your punches. Particularly, I have found for me, my circle punches. And what I'll do is if I get a scrap, if something's large like this, I'll throw it in as is in my big bin. But once it gets down to about this size, I know we're getting to the end of the life on this piece of scrap paper. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and punch it into a circle typically because circles are so versatile to use on my page. And then I just throw it in my scrap bin, and it's usually right on the top. And then when I open it up, I say, I've got some circles pre-punched already. Something else I'll do is I oftentimes have little pieces of leftovers, like I try something like on this layout. For the title, before I chose the orange and the green, I actually tried a brown and a kind of a teal color, and I didn't like it. It didn't show up as well. So I just tossed that into my scrap bin here to see if I might use it in the future. Also, when something is getting near the end, like it's like this size, I'll go ahead and pre-punch it with a border. I don't know if you can see that there. That's got that notebook edge, and it's just in my scrap pile. So when I open this up, I see it on top, and if it's almost like having a piece of ribbon or washi tape in there. It's pre-made, ready to go. So punch things out beforehand just as you're sitting there. You can do this while you're watching TV. You could have your kids help out. It's one way of preparing your scraps, and it's also a way of making it so you don't have a lot of scraps in there that are like unattractive to look at, if you know what I mean. So when I look in my scrap bin, everything's kind of a square or a rectangle or already punched in a shape, because I'll trim off all the loose edges and go ahead and pre-punch if I have the time to do that and it's getting to the size where I can do that. Like this strip here, I'll probably go ahead and pre-punch that with a border punch. This one also, like when I cut an 12 by 12 down to an 8.5 by 11, I'm left with all these 1-inch strips. I'll go ahead and pre-punch those, and they're ready to go. Of course, you know something else you can do with your scraps is to immediately make a card after you finish your layout, because you've got all the coordinating products out already. You've got the cardstock, you've got some stickers, whatever it might be. Why not just go ahead and make a layout at the end of the completion of, or excuse me, make a card at the end of the completion of your layout. Something else I want to encourage you to do is, if you don't love the scrap, go ahead and toss it. Put it in a bin for your kids to use, put it in a paper bag and collect it to send to school or to the Children's Museum. I have a bag going where I send my stuff over to the Children's Museum. They use lots of stuff in their hands-on arts and crafts area. Let it go. Don't feel like it's like leftovers in the refrigerator. If it doesn't look good on day number 2 or day number 3, it ain't going to look any better on day number 7 or day number 10. So go ahead and let it go. Just make it a habit to use those scraps. Maybe every once in a while sit down and do one project that's all scrap related, and make cards and pre-punch things. Have little things in here, leave them on your desk or put them in a special area so they're ready to grab and go. It'll also help speed up on your scrapbooking for the next time around. So Lynette, thank you for your question. Anybody else have other questions they would like to throw my way, you know where to get a hold of me. Lain at layoutaday.com. I'll put the address right over there. Or at Twitter at Lain Ehmann. I'd love to hear from you. And send your questions my way. Oh, just one other thing to let you know. This is all my pattern paper scraps. I have my cardstock scraps in a big, that thing right there. Right there. In a big drawer. Just thrown in, not by color. I just like to sort through them. So Kelly Crow does it that way too. All right, that's it for today. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.